Yeah, so this is our attempt to do a 13 stats in as quick time as we can. So this is the first of video of probably 3 or 4, okay, in this. And what it is, yeah, 13 stats. We have three major chapters, and they're all for all the exam boards, but we're focusing on Edexcel today. And these are the skills I've copied from the Edexcel textbook. And the first one is chapter one, which talks about exponential models. It talks about at the beginning using logs, which is chapter 14 of A1 Pure Book. So I'm pretty sure you've covered that. If you haven't, I'll come back and do that video on that as well. But we're focusing on today chapter skill 2 and skill 3. We have to work out using calculator to work out PMCC and then hypothesis testing on this. Very simple this one is. And you know, what I'm going to cover from here now is skill 2, and I will be focusing mainly on um, past exam questions, which are not the new spec. I'll try to keep away from new spec as much as I can. So this is the first question. We have a look at this video, this question. Pause the video, have a look at the question, then we can work on this together afterwards, right? And we talk about that then. So part A asks me to calculate the value of product moment correlation coefficient. Okay, and this we do by using calculator, and we're going to be putting these values in the calculator. We count how many are there altogether. There are 12 of them. Okay, so we need to put in this 12 values in the calculator. I'm sure you know it. If you don't, just have a look. How do we put this in the calculators there? I have both calculators here. So I have, this is the new ones, two variables, execute, and I put the data in there already. Okay, the data for the calculation numbers. I mean, you should do that yourself first. Now pause the video here and go back and check the question and put the data in. And for this one, I think I put the data in here as well. So that is what it is. So statistics. Um, that's This is one variable. This is y1 plus y plus a bx. That's number two. Okay. And so we go to number two, and the data, we need to put this data in here. Like I put the data in here already. You can put the data in here as well. And then what do we do after that, people? We just go on to press execute on this one, and two variable results. We go to regression results there, and y plus a, this is y equals a plus bx, two variables linear correlation, and that gives you the value of r. R is the product moment correlation coefficient. So r comes out as, it is 0 0.665765942. Okay, this is the value of R, and you should do that same thing if you put this calculators in here, and after that you press option and you will do regression calculation there, result number 4, and get that value. So guys, check if you can get that value right, if you match my answer in here. Thank you. So we did part A, we got our value of R, which we written on that paper, 0.66576. And now for part B, we have to do what? We have to test at 1% significance level if there's a positive correlation. Okay, if it's positive correlation, that means it's one-tailed test. So what do we need to do, people? Very important. Your H naught is, you're assuming that correlation is 0. This is standard. It stays the same for all the tests. And your H1 is what they've asked me to test. They said, ask me to test positive correlation. So what do I need to do? I need to work out a critical value now. And that comes from the tables. And what do we need to look into tables for? It is a significance level, which it says 1% in the question. We'll show that again. Okay. And then we need n, which is in sample size 12. And 1% will not be split into two parts because this is a one-tailed test. If it's a two-tailed test, I would split that 1% into two parts. So we share that slide again. Okay, so There we are. Table, this is your tables, and looking for n equals 12. So n equals 12, looking for significance level, which is there in the top, 0.01, that's 1%. And we see where do these two meets, this 0.6581 is my critical value. So my critical value is 0.6581. Okay, so very important now. How do I take a decision? People, very important. The way I say this true, people, they just draw a number line. Okay, 1 and -1 on the extreme ends, because that is what correlation could be. Then 0.6581, the critical value I've got, 0.6581. I'll add minus as well. Okay, depending on what type of correlation is this. And my critical region is going away from 0. That means these are my two critical regions. And what do, people? I compare my calculated value, which was this, and see if that falls in the critical region. It's not 0.6657, is bigger than 0.6581. So this falls in the critical region. And people, same thing which we did for binomial testing. If something falls in the critical region, what does that mean? That the old medicine is not working. Patient has gone to critical region. We need a change. That means H naught is rejected, and H naught said there is no correlation. That means there's enough evidence to believe that there is a positive correlation between these two things. But let me repeat that again, people. The steps for this hypothesis testing is fairly simple. Calculate R. Sometimes now in the new spec, because the calculator versions, they have started giving you this. Okay, even better. This is standard. You must get mark for this. This is independent mark. You will need to write down H naught as rho is equal to 0, correlation coefficient. Okay, not the PMCC, not R. Then you find the critical value. You will need the two things, n equals n and significance level. Depending on one tail to two tail, significance level will stay the same. Then your critical regions are always going away from that 0, because these are critical regions, and see where your calculated value falls in this. And that is where we finish, and we write a conclusion after that. Guys, this is the first type of question. Right, so this was the question. We worked out PMCC using calculator. Then we worked out, we did the hypothesis testing using the table, calculated value, and the critical value, and this is the mark scheme. It says that matches our answer. Because this is the first question. The only difference, only variation left in here is then finish. How do we do a two-tailed test? I'll do an example, but the process is very simple. You have to do it, divide significance levels by 2. The next thing which is left in here is what is measured by PMCC. That has Edexcel have asked this question a couple of times. It is the linear association between the two variables. Okay, between the two variables, whichever two variables we're looking at. Okay, that's what's measured by PMCC. So this ends our first video, which covers how to calculate PMCC using calculator, and how do we do hypothesis testing with the correlation coefficient. We will meet you with the second video in probability, and then third normal distribution soon.